Hello and welcome to another Mothership maintenance blog. In the last maintenance blog you might have seen that we pulled into Porto Cristo in Majorca to have some repairs done, namely the crankshaft seal and the Vetus coupling bushings. And also, as it had been over 2,000 miles since the timing belt change, we thought we'd also check the pulleys and the water pump as well, and as you see in this episode, it's a good job we did. Normally I'm up for a bit of DIY, as you know, but because the marinas are so expensive in that part of the world, I didn't want to be sat on the dock for weeks on end while I try and figure out how to do the job and to source parts. So Torsten, the engineer from Yacht Concept Majorca, came on board, who agreed to be filmed and talk me through the whole job as well. So our engine, the Volvo Penta TMD 22, is the same as a Perkins Prima, but this procedure is pretty much the same for all Pentas of this age. As the timing belt was getting changed, we thought we'd also get the pulleys and the water pump checked as well, and it was a good job we did. So timing belts are scheduled for a change on these particular engines every 2,000 hours, and we were past that by this point. And the timing belt is sandwiched between two cover plates at the front of the engine, or in this case with Amels, it's the back of the engine because we go through a C drive. So first of all, we had to take off the alternator belts, which meant loosening off the tension on the 12 volt and the 24 volt alternator.
The original installation Volvo, and this is the short 24 volt installation. Okay.
Then it's just a matter of removing the outer cover and revealing the other pulleys and the timing belt itself. So in order to get the outer casing off, we had to take off the water pump pulley first. So the first thing we noticed was grease on the inside of the outer cover. This was located where the idler roller usually is, so it meant that that needed further investigation.
2 turns of the crankshaft aus 1 turn of the camshaft. That it enters 2 times in every turn of the camshaft.
And there are locking mechanisms for the crankshaft and the camshaft, but you have to get them lined up properly to do that. So there's 2 locations for a locking pin. There's one on the flywheel housing down here, and the other one is just on the top here on the camshaft. And in this case we just used a couple of drill bits.
When it reaches the hole, then it goes in. It's in. And it's in.
So next came the crankshaft pulley. I think there's an extra pulley put on the end of this to accommodate the extra 24 volt belt. So the inner pulley needed a bit more power to get that off, and also a pulley extractor. So before going any further, he took some pictures of the setup of the pulleys. out and also marked off the injector pump pulley, and this helps with realignment later. So you're just marking the position of the pulley?
Mark it in a way that it stays forever.
Then you remove the tensioner pulley.
This is tensioner here.
Oh, tensioner.
It's still good, but it's not new.
And the idler pulley. And finally we got to the timing belt, which wasn't in too bad a shape actually. So, as we noticed from the outer cover, the idler pulley was leaking grease. Oh, is that the one with the grease?
No, but it's still working.
We saw a sort of a spray of grease on the inside of the belt plate, and that's where it's come from. So this is getting replaced as well. And next was the fuel injection pump pulley, which needed a bit of encouragement.
Some tape around here to not get lost here, this connector.
And then the camshaft pulley. And underneath it, the hub.
This thing here can get loose, I have to take care, this is important.
And finally we got to the inner cover housing.
It's going very hard, this one. Has to be really clean and dry. Yeah. So later on, if something happens, you can immediately see what comes from. Yeah. Yes, I got some brake cleaner here. That's the best.
So behind the pulley and the housing is the fresh water pump, or the cooling pump, and this circulates the cooling water around the engine, and it was showing signs of wear.
There's a bit of play, yeah? Not much.
So before we could remove that, we had to drain the engine of the cooling fluid and also remove the hoses.
Is it working, this thing here?
I've never used it actually. I've usually just pumped it out.
You pumped it out?
Yeah.
I don't think it's big enough, to be honest. It's maybe 3 or 4 liters in it or something. really good idea to replace it. And the play.
So the sound of the play is not good.
Yeah. This is not good. Should not sound at all if it's good.
Okay.
And it's, I mean, later on, if the play gets bigger, then it starts leaking here. It's not good anymore, this pump. I think it's the first pump, because they're not painted. Even if you buy them in Volvo, they're not painted. No, it was completely loose.
So we've had a busy day. We've taken off all the pulleys and the wheels, and we've also taken off the water pump, and this was probably the most expensive surprise of the day. It's not too bad, but it's a bit rusted up and there's a bit of a play in it. It's on its way out, so we've decided to go ahead and replace that. So it's Monday morning. We spent 2 days in the marina without any work, so it's 140 euros just for nothing really. So we're a bit anxious that we might have to spend another night here if we don't get all the work complete. I think it's about 9:15 and the engineer should have been at 8 o'clock, and then we thought maybe we got it wrong, maybe it was 9 o'clock, and now it's 9:15, but it's just the way it is at the moment. So as I mentioned in the last maintenance blog, it's always best to source the part yourself because it's usually cheaper. But on this occasion, obviously we didn't anticipate everything that was going to be found on the engine, and so we had to buy it through the main Volvo dealer, and obviously prices are a premium. So with the extra parts and the extra time needed, and also the extra time in the marina, we racked up quite a bill on this occasion.
Maybe you can buy it somewhere else for 40 euros or
yeah. And then it was just a matter of putting everything back the way we'd found it, hopefully, with the new timing belt, the new idler, the tensioner, and also the new water pump.
Maybe if it's if you put around all the openings, something's going wrong. It's soft, this one. My worst nightmare. The one in the
So the new idler and tensioner pulled up just in time. And the timing belt I bought previously because I knew that needed changing.
They're suppliers for Ford and
Yeah.
many other companies. Would be going this direction and not in the...
Then, just as things were going smoothly,
The marks didn't coexist.
somehow, despite marking the injection pump pulley, we'd managed to put it on the wrong way round, or we'd turned the shaft. So even though the marks were lined up, the shaft had turned round. So that had to come off again, and the timing belt with it.
There are two possibilities to fit in here or in here.
Oh, see. Okay.
So even when you mark it here on the outside, because this was the position we had here on the consistent to mark on the cover,
Yeah.
the shaft could be turned 180 degrees,
Oh,
and then
see.
it's the other way around.
Okay.
But in this case, it wouldn't coincide, the marks. It's not really like it should be. Put it the other way around. And let's test it. It looks better. Okay.
Then, as with every job I've ever known, screws go missing.
But I brought 2 screws and I now only have 1 screw.
And it's nice to know that it happens to the professionals as well as us DIY people as well.
Things that don't disappear, they can't disappear.
But eventually we got everything sorted out. Tested the engine, just make sure there was nothing catching on the belt.
Okay, can we test it? Okay.
And we tensioned the timing belt properly.
4 pistons. Can we start it again just to make sure it's not touching the cover somewhere? Okay, that's good.
And then put the hoses back in place. The inspection hatch, the water pump pulley,
Okay.
and the new alternator belts.
one after another. Some of them. Okay, that's good.
And then we put the engine cradle back together. And we replaced the coolant fluid and then got out of the marina before it cost us any more than it already had.
And wish you a good trip.
I feel really nervous about the engine. It's been taken apart and put back together. So it's just good to listen to it and make sure it sounds okay. We're only going to go and anchor outside in the bay because it's a bit late to go anywhere, and we've left the kids as well, accidentally.
So thanks for watching. Thanks in particular to our patrons who keep us going. If you found it useful, give the video a thumbs up. If you want to buy me a coffee or beer, I'll be most grateful. You can do that by following the mothership links to the PayPal page or the Patreon page in the description below.